The day Earth burned was the day humanity learned the galaxy was not empty. The sky above every major city split open with cold white light as alien warships emerged without warning. They did not send envoys or demands. They did not ask for surrender. They struck first. Orbital cannons carved glowing scars across continents. Oceans boiled. Satellites died screaming into the atmosphere. Billions watched the destruction live before the feeds went dark. The Empire of Kairos believed humanity was just another silent world to be harvested. They believed Earth would fall in hours. They were wrong. Humanity did not have a unified fleet back then. Nations fought separately, desperately, bravely. Cities fell, but people endured. Underground shelters became fortresses. Engineers turned mining lasers into weapons. Every survivor learned one truth burned into their souls. If humanity lived, it would never forget. When the Empire finally withdrew, Earth was scarred but alive. 10 billion were dead. The Empire called it a successful punitive strike. They left behind ruins and grief, believing fear would keep humanity silent forever. They did not know what fear would become. General Mara Vance stood before the shattered council chamber of Earth, her uniform plain, her posture unbroken. She had lost her family in the first bombardment, like millions of others. She did not cry anymore. She planned. Mara believed something the others feared to admit. Humanity could win. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday. She pushed for unity, forced rival nations into one command. She traded pride for survival. Shipyards rose from lunar craters, asteroid belts became foundries. Human technology evolved with ruthless speed. Every weapon carried one purpose: never again. When scouts finally detected Kairos listening posts near the outer system, Mara ordered them captured instead of destroyed. She wanted the Empire to hear humanity speak. For the first time, Earth would not whisper. The transmission reached the Imperial High Court during a session of conquest reports. A human woman appeared on their crystalline displays, scarred, calm, unafraid. Silence fell across the chamber. Mara Vance looked directly into the eyes of the Empire. Her voice carried no anger, only certainty. You struck Earth first, now we are coming for you. She listed the dead, the cities erased, the children buried beneath molten stone. She did not beg for justice. She promised consequence. The imperial nobles laughed at first. Humans were primitives, barely spacefaring. But then Mara showed them something else. Fleet silhouettes, weapon tests, conquered pirate worlds now flying human banners. Timestamps proved it all happened after the invasion of Earth. The laughter died. Fear replaced it. Mara ended the transmission with one final statement. You taught us how empires fall. Humanity did not rush blindly into war. They advanced methodically, system by system. Each victory offered a choice: surrender or annihilation. Most surrendered. The Empire of Kairos discovered too late that humanity learned faster than it could adapt. Human fleets fought asymmetrically, unpredictably. They targeted supply lines, command nodes, pride. General Vance aged during the campaign, her hair silvered, her eyes sharper than ever. She refused retirement. This war had begun on her world, and she would see it end. Entire imperial legions laid down their arms upon hearing her name. To them, she became a symbol, not of cruelty, but inevitability. Every liberated system echoed the same truth. Earth remembers. The final confrontation came above the imperial homeworld. Golden spires gleamed beneath a sky filled with human warships. The Empire prepared for a last stand. Mara Vance addressed them one final time. You had a choice. You chose fire. Humanity did not destroy the planet. They dismantled the empire instead. Its fleets, its courts, its ideology of domination. They left the people alive, humbled, watched. As human ships departed, the galaxy understood something new. Humanity was not peaceful by weakness. They were peaceful by choice. And anyone who struck Earth first would never be allowed to forget. The galaxy did not change overnight after the fall of the Kairos Empire. Empires rarely vanish cleanly. Power leaves echoes, and fear takes time to find a new shape. In the years that followed, trade routes reopened cautiously. Old borders dissolved. New alliances formed around one central truth. Humanity was no longer a minor species on the galactic map. Worlds that had once hidden from imperial fleets now sent envoys to Earth. Some came seeking protection. Others came seeking understanding. A few came simply to see if the stories were true. They expected monsters. They expected conquerors drunk on revenge. Instead, they found cities rebuilt from ash, memorials stretching across continents, names etched into stone so long they could be seen from orbit. General Mara Vance walked among those memorials often, not for ceremony, not for speeches, but to remember why humanity had drawn its line so clearly. She knew the war was over, but she also knew something more dangerous remained. Complacency. The Kairos Empire had fallen because it believed humans would stay broken. Because it believed suffering ended resistance. Humanity learned the opposite lesson. Pain sharpened memory. Loss forged purpose. Across the galaxy, remnants of the old order whispered in the shadows. Warlords claimed imperial titles. Former governors crowned themselves kings. They believed humanity would tire of vigilance. They were wrong. Human fleets did not occupy worlds. They observed. They listened. They intervened only when annihilation loomed. This restraint confused many species. In the old age of empires, power always demanded tribute. Humans demanded only one thing: do not become what destroyed us. Mara Vance addressed the Galactic Assembly for the first time 5 years after the war. She stood older now, her scars more visible, her voice slower but no less steady. The chamber was filled with hundreds of species. Many had never stood so close to a human before. She did not speak of victory. She did not recount battles. She spoke of responsibility. Earth was not special because it survived. Earth was special because it remembered. She warned them that humanity would never rule the galaxy, but it would never allow silence in the face of extermination again. The assembly listened, because they had seen what happened when humanity stopped listening. Far from the halls of diplomacy, human shipyards never slept. New generations trained not on hatred, but readiness. History was taught alongside tactics. Every cadet learned what Earth looked like on the day the sky burned. Not to fuel rage, but to anchor restraint. Mara eventually retired from command. Not because she was weak, but because she believed power should never become permanent. Her final order was simple: guard the memory. When she died years later, Earth did not mourn with silence. Ships across the system powered down their weapons for 1 minute. A signal visible across the stars. On distant worlds, even former enemies paused. Because they understood something profound. Mara Vance had not been feared because she threatened destruction. She was feared because she made consequences inevitable. Long after her passing, new civilizations rose. Some curious, some ambitious, some dangerously arrogant. Every one of them learned the same story eventually. That once, long ago, an empire struck a small blue world without warning. That they believed fear would end resistance. That they believed humans would kneel. And that the galaxy changed forever when they did not. Humanity became something rare among the stars. A species that understood both mercy and extinction. And treated both with gravity. The warning that echoed across space was never repeated aloud. It did not need to be. Every sensor buoy, every human ship cresting hyperspace, every memorial drifting silently between stars, carried the same unspoken message. You struck Earth first, and the galaxy would never forget what came after. For nearly 3 decades after the fall of the Kha's Empire, the galaxy remained uneasy but intact. Borders shifted peacefully. Wars were smaller, faster, contained. No species dared repeat the mistake of striking Earth openly. Many believed humanity's era of consequence had passed. They said the stories were exaggerated by fear. They said humans had grown soft behind treaties and memorials. They said memory fades when generations change. Those voices did not come from the great powers. They came from the edges, from newly ascended civilizations that had not known empire, from species that believed restraint was weakness. Among them rose the Vul ascendancy, young, brilliant, and dangerously confident. Their technology rivaled humanity in specific fields. Their leaders spoke openly of destiny. To the Vul, the galaxy was stagnant, too cautious, too bound by the trauma of extinct empires. They believed progress required pressure. At first, their expansion was subtle. Trade manipulation, political influence, strategic intimidation masked as protection. Human observers noted everything, logged it, archived it, said nothing. This silence emboldened the Vul. They convinced themselves humanity no longer cared. That Earth had become a ceremonial power. Strong in story, weak in will. The first violation came at the Kusan Reach, a neutral system under joint protection. Vul fleets entered without permission, claimed a need for security realignment. Local populations resisted, not with weapons, but with law. They invoked the accords signed after Kha's fell. The Vul ignored them. Humanity responded with a single message: withdraw immediately. The Vul Council debated for less than a minute. They refused. The second violation followed within weeks. A colony world blockaded. Food shipments seized. Communication restricted. Again, humanity warned them. This is your final notice. Across the galaxy, diplomats held their breath, because everyone remembered what warnings from Earth meant. The Vul leadership laughed behind closed chambers. They believed humanity would never risk destabilizing the peace it had worked so hard to build. They believed Earth needed the myth of restraint more than it needed action. They were wrong. Human fleets did not surge forward dramatically. They did not announce war. They simply began to move. Ships long thought ceremonial detached from orbital docks. Reserve fleets emerged from hidden shipyards. Logistics chains activated with terrifying precision. Every movement was calm, measured, documented. When the first human task force arrived in the Kusan Reach, they did not fire. They transmitted a detailed list of Vul violations, cited laws the Vul themselves had signed, offered one last chance. Withdraw now. The Vul commander hesitated. For the first time, doubt crept in. Human ships held formation with absolute confidence. Weapons cold but ready. The Vole fired first. It was a warning shot by their standards. A calculated display of dominance. A beam that scorched a human cruiser's armor but did not breach it. The response was immediate. Silent. Overwhelming. Human point defenses activated before the Vole realized combat had begun. Electronic warfare collapsed their targeting. Precision strikes disabled engines without destroying hulls. Within 12 minutes, the Vole fleet was powerless. Drifting intact, humiliated. Humanity did not annihilate them. They boarded the ships. They recorded everything. The footage spread faster than any speech ever could. A young empire firing first. A patient power responding with absolute control. The Galactic Assembly convened in emergency session. Vole representatives demanded sanctions against humanity. Accused Earth of overreaction. A human delegate stood calmly and played the recording. The first shot. The timestamp. The warning issued moments before. No one spoke after. Humanity did not declare war on the Vole ascendancy. They imposed something far worse. Consequences without chaos. Trade access restricted. Military movements monitored. Expansion frozen by unanimous vote. The Vole economy faltered within months. Internal unrest grew. Their people demanded answers. For the first time, Vole leaders faced their citizens without propaganda. They were forced to explain why they ignored Earth's warning. Humanity issued a final public statement. Not a threat, not a boast. We will not rule you, but we will stop you. Across the galaxy, the lessons settled deeply. Humanity was not waiting to be tested. They were waiting for proof. Proof of intent. Proof of disregard. Proof that a line had been crossed. Once crossed, response was inevitable. In academies light years away, new officers studied the Cusson incident. Not as a battle, but as a warning fulfilled. They learned that humanity did not seek enemies, but it would never tolerate the first strike again, whether it came as fire, pressure, or arrogance. On Earth, children visited memorials that no longer grew. They learned the names of lost cities. They learned the story of the sky that burned. But they also learned something else. That survival had meaning only when paired with restraint. The galaxy moved forward cautiously after that. Not frozen by fear, but guided by memory. And in the quiet between stars, among drifting monuments and watchful fleets, the truth endured. Humanity did not threaten the galaxy. It guarded it. Because once, long ago, Earth was struck first. And everything that followed proved that some warnings are not meant to be repeated.